Ethan, a 26-year-old mechanic, lives a quiet life in a small American town. He has few friends, spending most of his time working and occasionally visiting the local bar. One evening, he meets Claire, a lively college student home for the summer. She's energetic and charismatic, and Ethan is instantly drawn to her. Their relationship develops quickly. For the first time, Ethan feels needed and starts dreaming of a future with Claire. However, Claire soon realizes that they want different things. She's ambitious and eager to move to a big city to pursue a career, while Ethan hopes she'll stay and build a life with him in the town. Claire tries to break up with Ethan, but he becomes increasingly possessive. He texts her incessantly and shows up uninvited, desperate to keep her in his life. The tension builds, and Claire starts avoiding him. One night, as she returns home from a night out, Claire finds Ethan waiting outside her house. They argue, and in a moment of rage and panic, Ethan pushes her. She falls and hits her head on a stone step, dying instantly. In shock, Ethan decides to cover up the crime. He drives her body to a nearby river and dumps it, then sends messages from her phone to friends and family, making it seem like she left town on her own. A few days later, Claire's family reports her missing. Detective Tom Hansen leads the investigation. Initially, it looks like Claire disappeared voluntarily, but Ethan's behavior raises suspicions. During the first interrogation, Ethan claims he last saw Claire when she mentioned leaving town. However, his nervous demeanor and conflicting statements make Detective Hansen suspicious. As the investigation deepens, more inconsistencies emerge. Claire's friends reveal that she was afraid of Ethan and had planned to end the relationship. The texts supposedly sent by Claire don't match her typical style. A neighbor reports seeing Ethan at Claire's house the night she disappeared. A few weeks later, Claire's body is found in the river. The autopsy reveals that she died from blunt force trauma, consistent with a fall or push. Forensic analysis also finds traces of Claire's blood on Ethan's jacket, becoming key evidence. Ethan is brought in for a second interrogation. Detective Hansen applies psychological pressure, trying to elicit a confession. Ethan denies everything but makes a critical mistake by admitting he was at Claire's house that night, contradicting his previous statement. Knowing the evidence isn't quite enough for a conviction, Hansen arranges a sting operation. He enlists Ethan's former friend Jason to talk to him about Claire. During their staged conversation, Ethan slips. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It was an accident." The conversation is recorded, providing the final piece of evidence. The next day, police officers arrive at Ethan's house to arrest him. He tries to resist, but it's too late. In handcuffs, he pleads, "Ethan, I didn't mean to kill her. I'm not a murderer." But the officers remain unmoved. During the trial, Ethan's defense argues that the incident was an accident. However, the prosecution emphasizes the pattern of possessive behavior and rage. Ethan is found guilty of manslaughter with aggravating circumstances and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Ethan enters the state prison system and quickly learns how brutal life behind bars can be. Violence, power struggles, and isolation become his new reality. He keeps to himself, haunted by what he did. Overwhelmed with guilt, Ethan starts writing letters to Claire's parents, trying to explain himself and seek forgiveness. Eventually, Claire's mother, Susan, replies, "There is no forgiveness. You ruined our lives, just as you ruined your own." This response shatters Ethan. forcing him to confront the fact that his guilt will never be absolved. He must now live with the consequences of his actions, knowing that forgiveness will never come.